So a warm welcome to all of you, to all of us, once more to these daily meditation sessions, right at the heart of our week together today. And beautiful, as always, to feel our community gathering together to explore these teachings, to explore these practices and what they make possible for us. So, yeah, people are joining, and we are here as always for a session that will include some reflections and a meditation together, and some time for questions and responses towards the latter part of, of the session. And for those who are here for the first time or the first time this week, you're really welcome on Zohar, and I'm the great pleasure to be um, offering these sessions this week. And so I'd like to continue on this exploration, and okay, I touched on it yesterday. This is very much the heart of the Buddha's teaching, this understanding um, of how dukkha is constructed through that clenched fist, through the push and pull, through the craving and the clinging, and how it can be released as we learn to release to some degree. To some degree, that um, momentum, strong momentum of habits. So we've been looking this week at how that sense of pushing and pulling on our experience, which is so automatic for our attention, and it's non-intentional most of the time, how that is a building block of dukkha. And yesterday we were kind of breaking it down. Dukkha meaning ill-being, suffering, stress, distress, and showing how there's a moment of contact um, between the mind and a sense stimulation, a sound, a sight, a taste, a smell, contact through the body, or contact through the mental, emotional realm of heart and mind. And with that moment of contact, there'll be that classification according to preference, pleasant or unpleasant to me. And from there, that push and pull that grows. So the unpleasant will push away, the pleasant will try to pull towards us and to hold on to. And that comes with a degree of identification. This is about me, this is mine. That whole story builds. And with all of that, dukkha builds. With all of that, dukkha builds. And so, an example of that might be, in our meditation practice, there's an unpleasant sensation somewhere in the body that comes up. It might not be very, very big, but the mind, with that contact, will go towards it, and perceive the unpleasant, and then kind of latch on. Notice that happening, and latch on, and then push away. And as we push away, actually what happens, that reactivity builds dukkha, builds the unpleasantness more than the actual sensation. This is what we want to start seeing. Now, if we can let go, and what we've been doing in the practice, the letting go is a letting go into the presence of the anchor of attention. Letting go into the presence, just the breath, remembering the breath, and then tuning to the breath or to the sound or to the metaphrases, whatever the anchor of attention is, we let go into that. So it's not just a letting go into empty space, which can be more difficult to do. It's letting go and letting the attention re-engage with the anchor of attention, the breath or the sound or the metta, whatever we're using as an anchor. And so, we're interested to kind of cultivate the skill of doing this, and also to kind of see the insight that's revealed as we do it. Seeing that dukkha builds or is is this friction and contraction with our experience, this clenched fist that we are talking about yesterday. And that letting go is a form of putting down that struggle. And yesterday there was a beautiful question around how do we let go? And now I'm reminded this is another way. We just kind of, this is a thing I do in my mind, yeah? Letting go of the struggle in the mind and using the image of just a letting go with the hand, just putting it down. Putting it down. Doesn't matter if we need to do it again and again and again and again. Yeah. That's our practice. That's why it's a practice. We keep doing it. Opening that clenched fist into an open hand. That also came up yesterday with the questions. And this movement, yeah, from being hooked into something or by something that builds dukkha, that might be in itself unpleasant, but it could also be pleasant. Yeah. That kind of movement from being hooked to putting it down, yeah, or the clenching, the contraction to spaciousness and openness, that movement can bring ease and well-being and peacefulness. And again, that was came up in the questions yesterday. Yeah, so that movement can bring ease, well-being, and peacefulness. And this is a really important insight. You know, we're talking about that, and it's an insight that we want to go beyond the intellectual understanding. You know, we want to kind of get a sense of it in our experience. And again, it doesn't need to be super dramatic. It can be just a moment of ease that we then pay attention to. Mhm. That we then pay attention to. Remember, experience is shaped by what we pay attention to and how. So another thing that we are cultivating and kind of developing the skill to do is then to sustain our attention with any degree of ease, of well-being, of peacefulness that opens up through the practice. You know, and this insight then can go more deep. It's kind of, I want to linger with this a little bit because it's coming up in the questions and I didn't have time to respond and I said I would do it today. Um, and, you know, I was planning to do it today, but as you can tell from my face, I'm always happy to speak about this aspect very much. We're both cultivating that skill, you know, to sustain attention with the relief and the ease. That's one positive thing that happens. The other is that allows the insight to be absorbed more deeply. Yeah. So rather than just saying, clenched fist, open hand, clenched fist, open hand, when we linger with the ease and the well-being of the open hand, of the putting down, the hookedness, yeah, into the contraction and the friction with experience, the push and pull. When we linger there, that allows the insight to be absorbed and to become experiential for us rather than only an intellectual understanding, which is also important. We're not um, dismissing the intellectual understanding, the knowledge, the kind of understanding, the getting it through the mind is also very, very meaningful. But then when we can have the experiential sense, that deepens the insight and it allows it to go more deep. That's one thing. And the other is, you know, the repetition of the insight like, again and again. So it might be one moment in a practice time, it might be like, you know, 100 moments, you know, that we just keep coming back. And anywhere on that range, we just keep with that insight and we linger in the well-being. Yeah. And what is that well-being? Yeah, it's also, you know, said, sometimes as we put things down, then there will be a sense of relief, of well-being and ease. That is the release of clinging. Yeah. That is the release of clinging. And that is why it's so magical and important that we pay attention. This is what it feels like. Some degree, yeah, from slight, yeah, just a little hint of peacefulness for a brief moment of very deep peacefulness that then we can linger in for longer. You know, the whole range, and any of it is relevant to us. Any of it is meaningful for us to stay with and to recognize. This is what the release of clinging feels like. Yeah, we want to get a taste of it. Yeah. Yeah. We want to get a taste of it. We want to kind of get familiar with that taste. And kind of we want to have a sense of that, the decrease of the clinging is an increase of well-being. The increase of well-being is a decrease of clinging, and it goes both ways. We can cultivate it both ways. This week we're particularly looking uh, at how we do that through um, letting go of clinging, but it can kind of can also let go of clinging through really emphasizing the capacity to open to well-being, to open to the beautiful, the nourishing in our lives. And as we do that, we let go of clinging, and it's an art. We're touching on it yesterday. Oh, there's peacefulness, and then there feels like there's immediately a clinging on the peacefulness, and we're like, see what I'm doing in my body? Rest into it. Yeah, rest into that well-being, rest into that peacefulness. We linger in it, we absorb in it. Yeah, and you might get images of that. And so the well-being is a release of the clinging, and as we develop the capacity to stay and linger with the well-being, we're not building more dukkha. Yeah, this is also really interesting. So there can be a dukkha that's trying to hold on to what is pleasant, yeah? But there's also a non-dukkha, yeah, that can come from resting in to the well-being that arises with non-clinging, or enjoying, uh, you know, what is nourishing, what is beautiful, what is peaceful, in a way that does not build clinging and therefore dukkha. Mhm. Yeah, so this is what the practice opens up for us, and it's quite a lot. And just to kind of say, how do we know? Sometimes we want to know, how do we know what the difference is, and also then knowing supports us to cultivate that spaciousness versus contraction. So if we say, there's peacefulness, trying to hold on to it, actually that will make it go away. We know that immediately, pretty much. But if I'm kind of spacious with that peacefulness, I make more space for it. I feel more spacious with it. An openness versus a limitation. Yeah. So spaciousness versus contraction, openness versus limitation, allowing. Welcome to be. Welcome to be. So these are some ways of attending to it. So today in the practice, we're going to continue to let go, and we're going to continue this process of just being lightly curious and interested to see, to recognize the well-being that arises with the letting go, and with the letting go of the clinging, and to linger. That's what we'll try and do. Okay. So let's practice together. If you're not already in a posture that is appropriate and conducive for your meditation practice, then please adopt it, find it, and adjust it so that you're as comfortable as possible and the body is as supported and stable and steady as possible. As you make any adjustments to the posture, maybe taking a deep breath, the out breath, really inviting that letting go of the body into the posture, into that which supports the body, the ground, the seat, the mat. Opening to the sensations of contact between the body and that which supports the body. Letting the attention gather, collect, settle with those sensations of contact. Feeling the base of the body, feeling that support through the contact. Support for the body, but also support for the awareness. There's a place we can ground, settle, and gather it. From that rootedness and gatheredness opening. Awareness through the body, softening through the body. Gently expanding awareness in your own time. So that you get a sense of the whole body here. Whole body here. And awareness expanded, spacious, through the whole body. As we remember the intention, practice is an act of kindness. Letting that intention fill the space of the body. Nourish the body, heart, and mind. So opening, as always, to find the appropriate anchor for yourself. Maybe that it's actually this body awareness, rootedness with the contact sensations and the awareness spread through the whole body. Some of us, this is a helpful anchor. Maybe that, as well as that in the background, we have the breath or sound or metta, primary anchor. Taking a little bit of time to check what's the appropriate anchor, which one you're choosing for this period of time. As much as possible, keeping the awareness wide as we practice. and attending to the anchor that you choose. Openness with receptivity, with interest. Perhaps emphasizing an attention, a quality of relaxing with the presence of the breath or of the sounds. Relaxing into, resting into. And this resting into happens moment by moment, again and again. Resting attention with the body and with any additional anchor you may be using, with the breath, with the metta intention, with sound. This will be our practice. Let's explore it in silence for some time. Gently opening to this moment with the curiosity and interest that we've been cultivating. You feel fairly steady with the attention, and open to see, how can I attend to the anchor in ways that emphasize ease and letting go. And if you're working with the breath, if that's the primary anchor, for example, pay attention to the letting go and the ease that comes with the out breath, and linger with that. Or the nourishment that comes with the in breath, and how you can feel that in breath spreading out, expanding through the whole body. If you're doing metta practice, emphasizing ease, spaciousness. Same if you're working with the body and the whole body. If you're working with sound, perhaps that opening and relaxing and easefulness as the sound that you're attending to disappears or grows quieter. And that receptivity before a new sound arises in awareness. So these are just some suggestions, examples. As we continue to practice as we have been, letting go with the anchor into the anchor of attention, also opening to explore, can I attend to what increases well-being and ease, or in ways that increase well-being and ease, like that open palm of attention, allowing what arises to arise, to be, and to go. So continuing with the practice, continuing with the exploration in this way. Right now, in this moment, what's possible? Remembering the capacity, the possibility to let go of clinging through how we attend to the anchor of attention or to any distraction that is here. Unhooking, releasing that clenched fist as we rest more fully into this moment of experience. As we attend to any ease that is available through the practice. Inviting ourselves to immerse more fully. Absorb more fully into any well-being or ease or peacefulness that arises even for a moment. As you deepen attention with the anchor of attention, as you deepen attention with whatever way of practice, whatever way of being brings more well-being. The release of the out-breath, the flow of sound through awareness, the intention of kindness with metta, releasing, tasting any well-being, any ease that arises and lingering with it, absorbing into it, resting more fully, and letting it nourish. in a moment as the bell rings, noticing what's unfolding in experience with that sound. Continuing to rest into any ease, any well-being that's available as you practice and as you continue to practice through the transition. So please take your time. There's no rush, and in a little while we'll open to questions, reflections. You can put those into the chat. And if you can put the word question or reflection in capitals at the beginning of what you write, it's helpful for me to locate amongst different chat messages that may appear. And so as we pause and allow questions, reflections to be articulated first in the mind and then through typing them in the chat, also want to say a few words about dana practice. And it's interesting, often this is when people start to disappear. And if you are about to disappear and you have a moment, I would just pause and question that. Do we feel like we know everything there is to know about dana, and that we don't need a reminder, that we don't need a practice there? It's interesting. And if that's what we feel, can we just, pause and relax into that, and see what happens with that sense of, even internally, ignore what I'm saying, but contemplating, feeling dana. What is that? That movement of generosity, that movement of participation, that movement of sharing. It's a big letting go that happens with this practice. And yesterday we were touching on that, the letting go of the sense of, that comes up of maybe I don't have enough, or I'm not good enough because I don't have enough. That can come up, enough to give. And today, emphasizing, if we choose to practice dana today, and my personal kind of suggestion would always be practice dana whenever it's possible. Is to feel the letting go that can come and the well-being that can come as we engage in sharing what we have. And it may be that we haven't got something to offer financially. We can offer dana through our metta intention, sending metta to all those who are here, all those who are making this possible. And so, as always, I'll put the dana link in the chat and use it as you see fit. But remembering this is, we can also reflect as part of our dana reflection. This is given to us. These sessions are given to us. They're gifted to us by others. And taking some time to savor that. Whether we engage with the financial dana practice today or not, we can savor the dana practice of opening to what we are receiving and what is being gifted to us by this community via Sangha Live and myself. So there's the link in the chat. Any questions, any reflections about anything we've explored today, explored this week, or anything to do with your practice, really, really welcome. And I think touching on that, that link between letting go and well-being, it may have felt for some of us very natural, for others it may have felt like a big leap. So honoring where you are with that, and remembering it's that little whispers, little moments um, of noticing the well-being or the peacefulness or the ease, even if it's just a degree of ease that arises, and then cultivating the capacity to notice that first of all, and then to linger with it is huge for our practice. And in our day to day, we want to bring our practice not just to the formal meditation, but beyond that, in the day to day, we can really use this, more and more. Um, just noticing, through the day. Some of I look out the window here. I've got a big window behind my desk, and just this morning before the session, I can see them now. There's some seagull chicks. It's a big industrial building, and it's a great nesting ground for seagulls. So there's baby seagulls, um, on there, and that immediately brings a sense of well-being just to watch them. And usually any young creature, and then to linger, to notice that that is happening, because a lot of the time you just won't notice the baby seagulls, won't notice the joy that comes. And what is that? That's a release of clinging, of self-reference, noticing something else, and that opens up. And as we linger in it, it kind of grows. Yeah. So it can grow and can become a resource for us, but it can also then go beyond the particular thing. I'm not focused on the baby seagulls anymore. I'm focused on that feeling of opening and release and well-being that arises. Yeah. So there's a reflection there from Ruth. Always cultivating the capacity to notice the ease and well-being in my yoga practice, as opposed to pushing, pulling, and striving. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Really emphasizing that, that rather than that, what would, there's a well-being here. And it may be even with, say, if you're doing something like yoga or other physical kind of body practice, and it may be even more kind of exercise things like running or, um, going to the gym or whatever it is, noticing, bringing the mind to the well-being and the ease that opens up rather than the stretch and the strain. It can be interesting. Of course, we still want to be in touch with that so we don't overstrain ourselves, but it's something that we really can cultivate in the practice and across situations. Which is really, really, yes, useful. It's the same actually. We can bring it also with compassion. So there might be a pain in the heart. For me these days, it's almost constantly a sense of grief and pain that's going on, with everything that's happening in the world, and particularly um, in areas of the world which are very close to my heart. Um, and with that grief, with that pain in the heart, and I open to it, I bring spaciousness, I hold it in compassion and tenderness, there's a well being that arises. Yeah. And that's alongside the pain. It doesn't push the pain away, it doesn't diminish it, just holds it in a kind of in more love, in more tenderness. And so that's also a capacity, something that we can train and do, finding the ease with that heartache and that grief. There's a question, beautiful question there from Joss. When we are somewhere very beautiful, noticing the well-being sometimes seems to be overwhelming. How to work with this? Um, Yeah, so noticing the well-being feels overwhelming, I'm guessing, to your own system. It's interesting. This can also happen in meditation. Sometimes there's very strong sensations of meditative pleasure or well-being that arise, and often there can be a sense of, oh, this is too much. It's interesting. Open the container. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Overwhelm or often comes because the container is too small. Yeah, also what happens with what I was talking about with compassion and to the painful. When there's pain, we tend to kind of gravitate around it, which is very beautiful. Yeah, but it closes the space, and so when compassion opens it. And so when there's a lot of beauty, and then there's the well-being that comes up with the beauty, open it out. Yeah, just increase the space of awareness to the whole body. This is one thing that we can do. The other is allow the well-being to move through. So we take in the beauty, and it's not ours. Yeah, and the well-being is also, it's not mine, but I'm letting it nourish. I'm letting it nourish and move through. And then I might actively share it out with others, or I just open out to have that sense of it coming and moving through and flowing out, just like sounds do. That might be another way. And at other times, we actually want to keep it contained, but in a larger container. Yeah. And then allow yourself to be nourished, like taking in the sun, taking in the rain, and letting them nourish the being. So these are some suggestions, Joss. Does that respond to your question? Just let me know if you can. So I'll repeat them. Just opening the container to make more space for the well-being and the beauty. Remembering this, it's not me or mine, so I don't need to hold on to it, but I just let it move through me, yeah, or just move through a bigger container, and even I can give it out and see what happens. And sometimes we can give it out and feel how it comes back again, over and over. So I'm hoping that that responds. And maybe, I'll add, you're probably trying to write in response to me, so sorry. Sometimes just noticing that, like, it's like, wow, being is so sensitive. We see beauty and it just, like, it just touches us so deeply, moves us so deeply. And so noticing also, we sometimes have very conditioned social conditioning and personal conditioning that comes in and says, you shouldn't feel this. Yeah. Shouldn't feel, this well-being. You shouldn't feel this happiness. Or you shouldn't feel this, beauty. Whether it's undeserving or sometimes it's not even that detailed. It's just you shouldn't. It's not right. Yeah. And then kind of opening to our, yes, it is. And the sense of like, what does it do? It opens up. It nourishes. Um, and kind of meeting that conditioning with compassion can be really, really helpful as well. Yeah. And feeling the love that comes, when we see beauty and see how it moves us, and feel the love that comes in response, the love that wants to care, whether it's for the baby seagulls or for the earth. And I'm assuming, Joss, you somewhere very beautiful in nature, and just the love for the world, the love for beings, letting that nourish us. It's a strength even when it feels very tender, and it's a real strength for all of us. So, if there's no more questions and reflections, then we can take this practice into the day with us. Both the sense of the letting go, whether what we're meeting is distraction, there's another reflection we'll respond to it in a moment, or beauty. Yeah, we can let go and we can feel that ease, we can feel that peace. And feel any joy and well-being that arise for us. A reflection from Catherine. Lingering with the open hand is so helpful in reminding me not to rush to fix things or to distract myself for them, as well as just opening to ease and joy rather than grasping. Yeah, yeah. So beautiful and so worthwhile. And also something from Claire, that love for the beauty of nature comes with a pang of dukkha around the damage we are doing to the climate and ecosystems. Yes, side by side, side by side. One is not, it does not kind of cover up, yeah, or ignore the other. We feel the love. That's why we care. And then we do what we can, yeah, to support looking after ecosystems, life forms, including ourselves. Now we take that as a nourishment, but we also, knowing the damage, knowing the pain, yeah, that pain and the beauty, one alongside each other. Yeah, there's space for all of them in our hearts and in the world. Yeah, space for all of that, and there has to be. We have to make space, because if we only act from the dukkha and the pain, then we're losing touch with that which we love. And if we only, which is not possible. If we're really open to the beauty and the love of the world, then the care will come. But then we need to channel it into appropriate and helpful action. So thank you, everyone. And yeah, may this be a day of beauty and of care and compassionate action for all of us, for each of us, and for all beings. May we care for this planet and for all the beings that share it with us. Go well.